Hi, welcome. I've got an oracle card reading here. It's a very interesting one. I have spent time with these cards last night, this morning. There are two threads of experience that are kind of running simultaneously, or will be running simultaneously, and are connected. So the cards have sort of effectively given me two messages, but it's all one message, because what's happening with one thread is having an effect on the other. And when I say threads, I'm sort of talking about two individuals and a particular segment of a cycle or a timeline or a circumstance. They are each in one, and there's a connection between the two. So I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the gatherer. So the gatherer is a kind of double role here, in that it is representing two individuals who are experiencing the same energy, but they are having a very different experience with it. So I will talk about Gatherer 1, which is one of these individuals, and their experience, and then I will talk about the other individual and their experience, and I think the connection will become more apparent as I go along like that. Or it will become easier to articulate, because it feels complex sometimes when there's a lot of information. I do have notes. I've got them here on my laptop in my notes app. So I will kind of be glancing down here and looking at that. It is purely because I do have a lot of notes, and my actual ability to just readily recall them ain't that sharp. So it's very helpful for me to have notes. Okay. So we'll start with Gatherer 1, this particular individual. So they are in the autumn phase of a particular experience or cycle. They are sort of taking stock of what they have around them, what they have metaphorically and literally kind of gathered up. There's a lot of abundance. There's a lot of abundance, a lot of stuff. But for them, there's this very clear message of like they're taking stock. It's like they're going through their things and they're taking stock. So I got a song through with this, immediately, like when I was pulling the cards, but when I sat to do the meditation with them, I just got it so strongly. And it is a song by a Pakistani singer called Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and it is a song sung in Punjabi, and it's called Nothing Without You. And I have listened to that song numerous times over the years, and I have looked for English translations of the lyrics before, but I can only find one. And before I pulled these cards, I'd actually listened to that song. It had come on when I was on the bus a few days previously. So I was asking, like, is it just sort of stuck in my head from the other day, or is that the message? And so then as a reiteration, I got a song that I never listen to, I don't even like, and it's that Whitney Houston, I Have Nothing. I have nothing, nothing. That one, bless you, Whitney. So they are taking stock of some accrued abundance that surrounds them, that they are in. And they are finding themselves without a particular someone. I want to say as a person. They're finding themselves without a particular person. So there seems to be some questioning of maybe the value or the meaning of everything that they have gathered, the things that they have accrued. Because what does it mean without this person, without this thing? Yeah. So the next card out was this spiral card. So I immediately got gathering momentum. Gathering momentum. And this was, I mean, it just really hardcore came through as time warp, like a time warp energy. And I saw, I mean, I don't even know if these were a thing, but I was seeing it as some almost like a kind of a fun fair sort of ride that you step into, and it's kind of turning, and it's got, you know, like stripes, and it's just turning, and you sort of walk through it. I don't know if they're a real thing, but that's the visual I always see it. And this one was stepping into it. And as they stepped into it, some of these items, these things that had been gathered, started to fall away, started to be removed, sort of taken away from them by the spiral. It's that it would kind of remove things as it turned, as it spun. I think I wrote down depletion, like it depleted what has been gathered. Yeah, right. And so it was, this is where I started to get the kind of energy of retrograde, because when I'm recording this, Mercury is in retrograde shadow, I think, and goes retrograde on, is it the 26th of November? So I initially was thinking, oh, Mercury retrograde. Because what this one seemed to be stepping into was a kind of like a journey of remembrance, a kind of like a retrospective. So from the point in time, the point in the cycle that they're at now, as the retrograde motion sort of picks up momentum, gathers speed, what's kind of happening is this one is going to be moving more deeply into this kind of phase, or yeah, like a phase of remembrance through retrospect, through retrospective energy. It's like looking back through time. And then we have this smoky mirror. So this is where the idea of Neptune, this was just Neptune was really strongly came through. It's like a Neptunian energy. And Neptune is retrograde also. Has been, I think retrograde for a lot of this year, but turns direct again on December the 7th. Looked into it. So there's this Neptune retrograde energy as well. So there's just all of this retrospective, looking back, remembering things going on. Or the energy is very potent for that. But it's like this one's kind of getting carried into it. It's not necessarily that they're choosing. It's just sometimes those retrograde, I mean, the energy is what it is, right? And we're not always actively trying to kind of look back and remember and whatever with particular experiences. It's like the experiences get brought to you, the remembrance of them gets brought to you. And it's like this one is arriving at a point on their timeline or in their cycle where they are right up front with this energy, and then they're in it. And then once they're in it, it kind of takes them. That's why I don't wear my hair down when I do these recordings, because I just fiddle with it so much. But I will stop. So, have a look. Yeah, so like non-linear time and space, entering deeply into it. It's opening up, it's coming back round. It's like the memory, the remembrance is coming back round for them. So, right, so what is seeming to be remembered? What is being brought to them, being brought to this one? They're going to find themselves in discovering. Realization doesn't feel like quite the right word, because I don't know, it's something more gentle than that, or it's something like realization to me sort of, it can sound quite fiery and quite sudden, like this almost like startling kind of impact. That's not the energy here. It feels like a powerful and very potent exploration that somebody is sort of being taken on so they can understand something. it's like they're being guided through it. This was very strongly coming through as a guide. Like they're being guided. And there's something about the threshold. When they've moved through this particular passage, this particular Neptunian, Mercurial, retrograde passage, they are at the threshold of a new experience, or they're at a crossroads. So this one is guiding them through it. And we'll also be waiting for them on the other end to carry them over the threshold, to take them on to the next point, the next space, the next cycle. So the reason for all this remembering, so we'll go down to the drum down here. So the drum immediately brought in the idea of music, right? The song, the Pakistani singer, the Punjabi song, it's beautiful music, and there's a lot of drums and sort of soft, gorgeous, soft, powerful, bassy kind of tones. And then the man's voice, his voice is beautiful. It's very, very melodic and very throat. You can really hear this beautiful melody in his throat with the sounds that he makes. It's really beautiful. So it brought in that. And the drum, the beat, right? I think this one, who is taking stock of all that has been gathered, something, or possibly more accurately someone, has faded out of their life. That is, or out of their experience. They faded out of the experience, and I think it's this one. So the thing that this one is finding themselves without has faded. They have faded. Because with the spiral and with the smoky mirror, Neptune's been in Pisces for fucking ages. Like since like 2011 or 12, it's been a really long time. But it's been retrograde for a lot of this year. Now, I think what has happened in the drum, right? The drum was guiding this one. Something about the beat of the heart, yeah? The heart was beating, and in its beating it was indicating something to them. It was guiding them towards someone. But something about that it's like sound, the way sound can get distorted in water, or it's something like that. It's like how it would sound differently. there's been this energy the drum, the heart, the beat was, I think, indicating a particular thing to this one, a particular direction, a particular kind of motion towards something to gather up, yeah. But I think that's been misunderstood. So the thing, the person that the drum was trying to guide them to has faded away, has faded out of their experience. They faded. They faded. And we've got the owl, which is very much about clear sight, yeah. Very much clear sight, being able to see in the dark. Talks, yeah, hang on. Yeah. Master of the night, seeing situations with perfect clarity. The fog isn't foggy to an owl. Look, there's something about this one, this first individual, being sort of taken through this kind of retrospective tunnel so they can understand. They're already coming into it, they're already realising in this process of taking stock that something that isn't with them in their current situation, in their current harvest, is actually something, or the one thing that they really want. It's that they're starting to realise that. So in the process of maybe it's just the natural kind of process of questioning or musing about that, there is then all this retrograde energy at play that is sort of picking them up and taking them on this kind of journey so they can understand why they don't have the one thing that it is that they want. And there is something, well, it's this, I mean, it's not, it's not necessarily something that will be easy to see. There's it's like someone has followed the beat or misinterpreted what the beat was towards or for. So they made a choice, they went in a particular direction, and they're now at the point of possibly kind of realising that it doesn't have what they believed it would. Something. So they're understanding that it's like the thing that they didn't follow the beat towards is actually what they want around them. It's like this person who's faded away. It's like the drum was indicating them, and it's like the drum energy now is kind of, you know, to indicate to them now. So that will be seen clearly, not necessarily joyfully. There's a kind of, it could be quite a difficult thing for someone to be faced with, because, you know, I had as guidance a number of years ago, like, there is no right or wrong, it's just what you choose. So it is like somebody made a choice about something, and now they are amongst some kind of abundance in relation to that choice, but they're realizing that they're wondering. There might just be a point of wondering, something's missing. What's missing? So they're going through, and they're going to realize, they're being guided, they're going to kind of realize that some choice that they made actually kind of led them away from what it was they were wanting. It's a person. So not necessarily an easy thing to see. So that's gatherer 1. So the second individual, they are also this gatherer energy, but it's coming through very differently for them. And it's interesting, 21 and the 22, 2 and 2, 2. I think these are the same. I think this gatherer number 2, so the second thread, the second person, second individual that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is this one. But they're here, and they have gathered also. But I was noticing with these, the feather and the spiral. This is really coming through as somebody who moves about in the dream space. It's like they enter into the dream space. They enter into the dream space and they move around in it, and they gather information, they gather all kinds of things. They have an abundance, they work with it. What they gather in this space, they can make use of in this realm. What they get in this realm, they can pull through into this one. They've done this a lot. Let's have a quick look. Yeah. So with this one, it was kind of talking about a renewal, and it was going really sort of interdimensional. It was really sort of saying, because with this, the 21 and the 12, trickster energies, right? Sacred divine trickster energies, they are very much threshold, crossroad deities. And you have them in all different kinds of cultures and cosmologies. There are tricksters, and they are very, very skilled at moving through different realms. Very, very skilled. And what better guide could we have for negotiating any potentially sort of hall of mirror, what the fuck, things that are going on, which is dream space, right? It gets weird as shit in there, doesn't it? But someone who knows, like they know their way around, they know how to negotiate that. So there's something about the 12 and the 21. 33 in this deck is magic. It's the magic card. And there's this idea of mirroring as well. And my last reading was called Be Your Own Mirror. Oh, so much, so much. It's like they move into this dream space realm to gather. They gather, they collect, they bring it back, and they do something with it. They grow. They can harvest it. They can do something with it. They have like a cornucopia of things gathered from these different dimensions. Because there's the realm of dreams, the dimension of dreams. How many different dimensions can you access through your dreams as well? There is something very... There's a lot going on here. And actually doing this second scene for this second individual with this card, I was just directed straight to the book, which I'm not usually. What is implied but cannot be immediately known in the world. So what I understand about this second individual, they can go into realms and spaces and they can get information. They can get information from different realms, different dimensions. The dream, a very potent dream space is being emphasized here. They can go into it and they can get information and they can come and they can do something with that information, which might not always make sense to them. Right. In relation to maybe their 3D surroundings. There's something, look, about like a quill. Something about a quill dipping in the ink. Right. Yeah. Words. Words with the coyote. Maybe they document, maybe they write. They do something. Maybe they draw. But they go into it and they do all of this stuff. And they are perhaps having a period of review with the retrogrades as well, but it wasn't really coming through as strongly with them. This card can also talk about aspects of ourselves that we disown. And this ghost dance can talk about sort of integration. But this was kind of talking about a very colourful and vibrant dream space that it sort of loses some of its vibrancy. It's still there, but its appearance is very different. It's very different than it has been. Yeah, I got mistrust in the mystic. I think somebody moves very deftly and very skillfully through a potent and powerful dream space. They themselves are skilled at it. And this is, I think, emphasizing the fact that they have that skill, they have that dexterity, they can move in that way, but also that they are guided as well. There could have been some intensity with these points. I've noticed this year a lot about dreams, and I noticed especially one of the big things was that particular astrological transits, I was already familiar with this in terms of the moon, cycles of the moon, but I learned a bit more about how particular planetary transits and aspects really show up in my dream space. And some of it I remember, this wasn't even this year, this was the end of 2023. Uranus was doing some, there was some aspects, and I think like the November time, November 23, fuck. Like that was intense energy. Like my personal experience of that was very intense, and it was very, very vivid in my dream space. Cycles of the planets, right? Entering into retrograde, going direct, certain kind of, all kinds of things. It's all in this spirals of the galaxy. And then the dreams and all the stuff. There can be, yes, intensity, but it can just be fucking trippy. I don't know what. It can be a fucking trip, right? Because Coyote shows up to when something has been set in motion. And Coyote's kind of there to ensure that we're ready to handle what has been set in motion. It feels like this very potent dream space that somebody moves in and out of and works with is very, I keep saying potent, it's like it's very potent. It's a very magical, powerful realm that they can access very easily, but there is a need to be aware of that intensity, right? To be aware of that intensity and that weirdness. Because it can be, you know, trippy as fuck. It can be a bit disorienting. Like anyone who has sort of really vivid dreams and regular, you know, busy space, it can be disorienting. I'm being reminded of all this stuff. It feels like somebody works with their dreams in a very powerful way, but there was a possible point where things were particularly intense. And Coyote has kind of stepped in then to, you all right? You ready? Guiding them always, but also maybe taking them off course a little bit. Because there's something about this, and for them, the drum and the ghost dance, it's like the drum kind of took them to a sort of more subdued dream space. But they were still getting the messages. They were still getting information. They were still getting messages. They were still seeing very clearly, because there's a lot of wisdom in the grey. It's neutral, but it's very wise. It's like they were maybe sort of taken a bit off course, or they were taken out of this dream work. And they've been working with this sort of, this more mellow or more peaceful or just cooler, neutrality, right? Like neutrality. There's nothing too intense there. It's like it's tempered, like a tempered dream space that's still incredibly potent, and there's still a lot of message and this ability to kind of go into the haze and do all of that. But yeah, it's like being put into, or just taken into somewhere to, it's like have some rest. Like not losing sight, not kind of losing anything, but it's not right to say that the dial's been turned down. I don't feel like that's the point. I feel like it's just, it's like a filter, but it's like things have been filtered out. So they see only what they need to, only what's for them. It's like a period, it's like a time-out period. But now it's this idea, this momentum, this picking back up, this renewal, this cycle coming back round. It's like it's picking up again. It's like the colour coming back to the dream space. It's like it's picking up for them. It's picking up for them again. It's like their dream space is opening back up. The potency is opening back up. It's starting to open back up. So Coyote is here again to guide them through that. Yeah, because there was some kind of intensity to it last time that necessitated a kind of a more neutral it required some kind of neutralization or tempering. But now it's like it's back. It's coming back. Like not in a sudden not in a sudden way, but it is kind of, it's like it's returning to a previous fullness. Or beyond, like beyond what it was before. It's expanded. So Coyote is like, right, you can do this, you can do this. You can freaking do it. Because that's the reclaim, it is reclaiming. Somewhat, this one's reclaiming their dream space. They're reclaiming something that is a very key part of how they work with what they work with. It's a really key part of it. So the connection between the two individuals. So the individual who is coming into the understanding in the retrograde, in the retrospective thing, is going to have some understanding of what has faded away to them, has faded out of their lives because they chose something else or someone else, and they're going to understand that. Individual 2 is the one that faded out of their life, and there's something about the dream space, there's something about a connection in the dream realm. Do you understand what I'm right? So if somebody has got a really potent, very active dream space, but they've been through a period of time where that has kind of been toned down because there was a lot going on, or there was just a reason or a need for them to step back from that or step out of that for a time. But it's so natural to them. It's like something that can't be turned off, right? They can't turn off their dream space, but they can do certain things that can just kind of temper it a bit. And that was necessary for them. But now the time is coming for them. It's going to start expanding again. It's going to start filling. It's going to start getting like it was before and a bit more, right? And that is going to be happening for them simultaneous to the other one coming into the understanding that they've let, or that a choice that they've made has resulted in them not having something that they're understanding the value of it. It's like, yeah. Okay. That's quite long, so I'll leave that. Well, Yeah, I'll pull a tarot card. It's like, yeah. I think one probably shows up in the other's dreams. I don't know what's, no, I don't know. I don't know what. I always like talking of a really strong connection, like a kind of psychic connection that was very active in the dream space, right? In the kind of non-material regions. So I'm gonna pick this tarot deck is called Tarot du Monde Perdu, which is Tarot of the Drowning World. So it's a bit of a different, it's a Marcela structured deck. Doesn't make any difference. See, they're all so massive and I'm not very good at shuffling them. Can I just have a tarot card to, oh, there you go. Two. They landed on the drum. Forgot. Glasses. Oh. Oops. So I've got the Knight of Cups. And Justice. Okay, there's a book I'm going to read. Fuck it, I mean, this is just going to be like an hour, isn't it? I'm going to read from the book. So we'll do the Knight of Cups first. Oh no, sorry, it's not the Knight, it's the Page. Page of Cups. Unexpected news or a message in a dream. Oh my goodness. Unexpected news or message in a dream can pleasantly unsettle us. Its novelty both confusing and beguiling. So too can youth and fashion be stimulating and hypnotic. That about the dream though. Unexpected news or a message in a dream can pleasantly unsettle us. Its novelty both confusing and beguiling. So its medicine is good news, new good friends, happy messages and helpful messengers. So the dreams are helpful messages. The poison is a charming smile and a sparkle in the eye can sometimes dazzle and distract us from noticing a person's destructive tendencies. Glamour can mask wiles. Okay. And then Justice. That's why, is that why someone needed their dream space tempering? Because somebody was showing up in their dream space much. Maybe. Is that number 8? It's like a protective detour for the higher good, yeah. Thrilling segue off the side of my face, looking for Justice. La Justice. Right, there's quite a lot here, so I'm not going to read it all. Oh, okay. Justice as depicted in the history of tarot arose from the classical Greek era, a combustion of myth and philosophical conception of justice as one of 4 cardinal or natural virtues, the other 3 being fortitude, temperance and prudence. So I've just been talking about dream space tempered, right? Excuse me. Desmond Tutu said, there are different kinds of justice. Retributive is largely Western. The African understanding is far more restorative, not so much to punish as to redress or restore balance that has been knocked askew. Somebody's dream space had to be tempered to protect them, I think. And this, well, protect to... They needed some kind of assistance with it, right? They needed a bit of sort of neutrality or a kind of toning down in a sense for a reason, and there's a connection to another person and some choice that they've made. It's all going to come to light, I'm hearing. It's all going to come. It'll all come out in the wash. Right, let's just read the medicine. Balance and equilibrium will be restored. Impartial observers can give wise judgment. Collective process will result in equity. Resources will be distributed equally and fairly. The poison, beware making harsh judgments that result in harsh actions of yourself as well as others. Examine your decisions for bias, lust for control or hypocrisy. Ignorance may cloud your judgment or others of you. Put my glasses on. Okay. A lot of information there. Okay, thank you for watching. It's nearly an hour.